What's up, y'all? I hope everybody's well. I just posted on my stories and realized I was like, oh, I need to do a little bit more of a fleshing out of this as a what's up, y'all. So, a few days ago, last week, I listened to I didn't listen to a what's up, y'all. I listened to an Instagram live from Austin Channing and Rachel Ricketts, both two anti-racism activists and writers, and Black women. And so when I listened to two, and I realized I may not be picking up at the same place, so I had to pause and go get to the door. When I listened to their post, because their Instagram live was about the fact that the author Robin DiAngelo has a new book coming out called Nice Racism. And it was the critique of this white woman continuing to write about and profit off of anti-racism work. And the inherent conflict of interest that lives inside of that. And all the reasons that it's problematic for white people to be making their living as anti-racist educators. And I agree, and there's something still that I haven't figured out yet, and I'm still working through that. But here's the long and short of it is, I agree with them. Right? Like, there's some piece of nuance I'm still working out, and I'll let y'all know when I figure out whatever that is, because I haven't totally figured it out yet. But what I do know is that I do agree with them, because just like anything else, it's like for-profit prisons. If you make money off of it, then you can't have any honest investment in ending it without ending your livelihood. Right? There's an inherent conflict of interest. In addition to the fact that making money off of the problem that you helped create is the most, white supremacist, delusional, capitalist thing that a white person could do, is be like, oh, let me make a problem, let me exacerbate a problem, then let me offer the solution so that all the things that come from that get to go into my pocket. It's problematic as all get out, right? And then I just saw a post from my friend Jessica Wilson, anti-racism educator, nutritionist, dietitian, who really talks about the intersections of food and weight and race. And I fucks with Jessica. And you should too. And Jessica just posted a series of graphics, bless me, a series of graphics about the term white fragility and the problematics of the term white fragility. And it set off a little aha for me that made me need to step up in this post and be in some accountability. And Jessica's premise is that the term white fragility distances white people from the, places them in a position of delicacy, right? Of they're delicate, and it's black people who are strong and resilient, which then increases the idea that black people don't feel pain at the same way that white people do, and all of these other sorts of racist, white supremacist tropes that live inside of that, right? And that what we have been calling white fragility is really just white entitlement and white violence. Touche. Right? And that we were very quick to, as a nation, adopt this particular term and framework from this white woman without deeply digging into the ways in which even her coining the term white fragility was rooted in white fragility, right? Because it's about softening that particular dynamic rather than just having to deal with the truth that it is white violence. That is the violence the white supremacist delusion enacts every single day to protect itself and to protect its power. And so I say all of that to say, I read that and I was like, yup, right. And then I had to be like, right. And I name Robin DiAngelo, and I name her book and that theory inside of the second edition of The Body Is Not an Apology. And, upon reflection and upon, sitting with the critiques and feedback of Black anti-racist scholars, I recognize that as a problem and as an issue that I wish I had not done. Because what Black people have been naming forever as entitlement, as violence, gets renamed as fragility by a white woman. And then that is what gets promoted as the legitimate discourse around this, right? Further erasing what it is that Black people have said it actually is. Because what we experience it as is what it is, right? Like, that's actually what it is. And the softening of the language is to make it more palatable for white people, rather than for white people to have to build inside of them. It's not even about building inside of them. Releasing the ego attachment that makes it incapable for them to listen to the appropriate, honest, and well-researched critique of Black people. Right? Because their feelings get hurt. And your feelings get hurt is literally a subconscious reaction to the protection of whiteness. And I'm sorry that I further perpetuated that protection of whiteness by elevating that theory over the language that Black people have been using to describe white people's violence as violence since the beginning of time. And so I need to write to my publishers and see if there's anything I can do in subsequent printings about removing that, because it feels problematic to me. And it feels like an elevation of a framework whose existence is because of white supremacist delusion, whose existence is because white people and their delusions about supremacy refuse to listen to Black folks and what Black people say about our experience with them. So I wanted to elevate that. I wanted to publicly apologize for the ways in which even including that is an act of erasure. And that I'll be seeking to try to do something to rectify that in subsequent printings of the book. So thank you, Black women and femmes and non-binary folks who continue to do the labor of deconstructing white supremacist delusion, both out in the world and, for other Black folks. I love you, and I see you, and I thank you.